This month on Netflix, the Train to Busan sequel finally arrives.
I like that.
Tom Segura's new dark comedy series, Vince Vaughn makes minestrone for Mother's Day. The finale of the Lost Bullet trilogy, and one of my all-time favorite anthology series will return for Volume 4 and a lot more. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you the entire list of everything they're adding throughout the month with dates. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video. I'll tell you more about them later as well, but first, let's dive into some of my top recommendations for the month, starting with May 2nd, where they're adding both Train to Busan and its sequel, Peninsula. Now, Train to Busan returning to Netflix is not that big a deal. I have been recommending this movie basically since I started this YouTube channel. I think it's one of the best zombie movies of its kind. If you've enjoyed that recommendation over the years, then definitely check out Peninsula, but do not expect a direct sequel. Keep in mind, the world has been ravaged by a zombie apocalypse, so the sequel is quite different in its pace and its delivery. If anything, it's darker and grittier than Train to Busan. While I did enjoy it and do highly recommend it, it's not as well-rounded as Train to Busan. It didn't have nearly as much heart to it as the original did, but it's still a dark, gritty zombie flick with some really interesting ideas in it. On May 2nd, they're adding Last Bullet, or Lost Bullet 3. This is the finale of a French action trilogy that I have also been highly recommending over about the past 5 years or so. Particularly the first Lost Bullet. While I did enjoy the sequel, the first one just still is a total banger. And it actually does sound pretty badass when they speak French, but if you don't like reading subtitles, they do have good dubbed versions for these movies. And I'll say, even though I did not mind the heavy use of CGI and all of the car chases for the Tom Hardy flick Havoc that just hit Netflix last month, like, they looked awesome. They looked great. I still have just strong feelings for real car chases, and that's what you get with the Lost Bullet trilogy. Actual stunts, not just that, but the main actor is the stunt guy. He's driving the cars, he's doing the fight sequences, and this third installment looks like they kind of go back to the basics of the original, foregoing some of the wackier stuff they did in the second one. So I'm hyped for this. I'm glad they're going to round it out with a trilogy. On May 8th, we've got two titles I have not seen yet. One being Heart Eyes, a slasher flick that hit theaters just a couple of months ago. It's got mediocre reviews, and it's coming in hot to Netflix on May 8th. It has not been around very long.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy V-Day!
Get killed, all right. What was...
Why would he say that?
On the same day, they're adding the final season of Blood of Zeus. This is a very popular adult animation series. It's not one that I've watched, but it's because they add way too much of this stuff for me to keep up with. I've got movies to watch to keep this channel running. I've got plenty more movies to recommend, but first I want to recommend today's sponsor, ZocDoc, which is totally free and super helpful. I just used ZocDoc to book my first doctor's appointment in a very long time. It's a completely free website that makes it easy to find and book high-quality in-network doctors. I turned 40 just last year, and for months, I kept putting off booking a standard checkup. Every time I tried, I would get overwhelmed by scrolling through random doctor listings. I was unsure who took my insurance and who was even any good. It was frustrating enough that every time I would just shut my laptop and move on to something more productive. And then I heard about ZocDoc. And the website is super simple to use. I just entered my name, location, and my insurance plan, and immediately had a long list of doctors in my area that take my insurance. I was even able to sort them based on distance so I could find one close to home. For me, having extensive verified patient reviews was the most helpful part of ZocDoc. Each listing featured plenty of people sharing real experiences with the doctor's bedside manner, the office environment, wait times. I could even see their earliest available appointment without having to call around. In just a matter of minutes, I booked an appointment with a doctor I felt great about, and a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. Again, it was super simple and totally free. This is not just for checkups either. ZocDoc makes it easy to book dentists, eye doctors, dermatologists, therapists, and more. So stop putting off that pesky appointment. Just head to ZocDoc.com/flick and instantly book a top-rated doctor doctor today. The link is also in the video description, or use the QR code. Either way, it's a service I strongly recommend, but speaking of my recommendations, let's get back to the movies. Believe it or not, Vince Vaughn, of all people, is back with what looks like a fantastic Mother's Day flick titled Nonnas. After his Italian grandmother passes, he decides to open up an Italian restaurant, but to do so, he hires other Italian grandmothers, which includes Susan Sarandon and Lorraine Bracco. Even though that sounds kind of dry, this looks like a fun movie, and like one that you could watch with mixed company. You could watch it with your mother. Netflix hadn't been pumping out a whole lot of stuff like that I've wanted to watch over the years, and I have been loving everything Vince Vaughn's been involved in over the last 8 years or so. So it's exciting to see him back in a leading role in an accessible movie that actually looks like it does have a good bit of heart to it. But on May 13th, we've got something heartless, soulless, and just downright despicable with Tom Segura's new anthology series, Bad Thoughts.
Hey, speak of the devil. Sure.
No, this is not the anthology series I mentioned at the top of the video, but it's a brand new idea from stand-up comedian Tom Segura. If you've never listened to his podcast, the guy has got a real twisted sense of humor, and it looks like it's going to come to life with this series. So if you're a fan of his comedy, this is going to be a must-watch, but even if you're just a fan of dark comedy, mark your calendars for the 13th.
I like that.
But just 2 days later, on the 15th, they're adding the anthology series I mentioned at the top of the video. Love, Death, and Robots returns for Volume 4. Easily one of my favorite things Netflix has produced ever. If you've yet to watch it, there's 3 other seasons you can check out right now. They're all animated sci-fi shorts with just breathtaking animation styles and diverse animation styles as well. Every single one is fairly different. Some of them are extremely graphic and bloody. Some of them are sexually graphic. Some of them are both. Almost all of them are incredibly creative in a bunch of different ways. While some are, yes, disturbing, I find other ones to be highly rewatchable. If you liked the mini zombie episode from the first season, there's a new one with aliens, and a recreation of an iconic Red Hot Chili Peppers performance from 2003, done all with marionette puppets. Like I said, clever, creative, interesting. I cannot wait to get my eyes on Volume 4. By the way, if you want to never run out of good movies to watch again on Netflix or any of the major streaming services, definitely click that subscribe button. I put out videos like this every single week, sometimes twice a week. If you feel like we've got somewhat similar taste, I'll make sure your watch lists stay full.
There's a transient person at the house asking for you. She's carrying hot garbage. She says she's your sister.
May 22nd is adding a new limited series that looks very interesting. In fact, the trailer has got me really interested in Sirens. In this series, Julianne Moore plays like a guru, like a high-end guru, almost like a cult leader. Millie Alcock from House of Dragons also stars in this, and it looks like a wild ride. The trailer is somewhat reminiscent of the show Big Little Lies, and also Perfect Couples with Nicole Kidman, which was on Netflix just a few months ago. If you're into that kind of stuff, this looks like a particularly good series, but it's also a limited series, and I love that when it's over, it's actually over.
Breath. 10 out of 10. Mine? Let's take my gum.
On the 24th, The Wild Robot is coming to Netflix. Every month, I like to recommend the best family movie. This is definitely it, but I'm telling you, even if you don't have kids, this is an incredible animated movie. The animation style is beautiful, but the story here is actually really incredible. I had a blast watching this with my family. We watched it a couple of times, and I've said it a few times about some other titles on this list, but The Wild Robot has a ton of heart to it. And then before showing you everything that's leaving during the month of May, on the 29th, we've got a new series from the creators of The Queen's Gambit titled Department Q. Now, this is another British drama series. In fact, the folks that worked on The Crown are involved in this as well, and it's a crime series. Matthew Goode plays a detective in this series. He's good in everything, but in this one, he picks up a cold case that kind of consumes his life. I don't know any details that are too compelling about this, other than the fact that you've got The Queen's Gambit and The Crown creators involved. and it's at the end of the month. Very good chance this is going to be a talked about series. But if you didn't find something you're interested in, here's the full list of everything that they're adding. As you can see, May 1st has a ton of movies getting added, including Hannah, one I highly recommend. Mid-90s, which was directed by Jonah Hill, is a fantastic little indie coming-of-age story. You've got the entire Oceans trilogy, which I haven't seen that together on Netflix maybe ever. Past Lives is a very recently released romantic movie that's excellent. You've got Starship Troopers, one of the greatest satires of all time, and The Jerk. I don't think I've ever seen The Jerk added to Netflix before. Easily one of the funniest movies of all time.
Stay away from the cans! Die, gas pupper! There's cans in there too!
And here's the rest of the month. I'll also point out they're adding the Nicolas Cage movie, Pig. Easily one of the best dramas he's ever been in. But those are my recommendations. Do not forget to check out the ZocDoc link to book a doctor's appointment today. But I will keep making these videos as long as y'all keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this Netflix list, and you will see me on the next one.